good, the bad, and the odd. They seem to talk about everything.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd with your hosts, Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Right, so we're kind of doing a bit of a twofer this time, right? We're going to be covering Jumanji, the two recent Jumanji films, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle and Jumanji The Next Level. Really, you hadn't seen Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle, had you, until recently?
No.
And we kind of said, well, give it a look, and you had a look, and then we went to see it at the cinema. The new one, The Next Level, at the cinema. So we're going to talk about both, not in particular detail, and we're definitely not going to have spoilers about Jumanji The Next Level. We're trying to avoid that as best we can. So, because it's still relatively fresh, but we just get a feel. Right, okay, let's jump right into it. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle from 2017. What's your feel about it?
I quite enjoyed it. It's a fun little update to the old 1980-something film. 1995 film, sorry. And it updated it from board games to video games, for a more modern era. But ironically, board games are kind of becoming more and more of a thing now.
Yeah, so. Apparently, I didn't realise this. I've just seen this on Wikipedia. The first film everyone knows from the 90s, Robin Williams, is like what I thought was, I thought that was it. But there's apparently there's an animated series, and the film Zathura is apparently.
Yeah, it's like a similar sort of thing, and it's like sci-fi.
Yeah, and so this is referred to as the third. Welcome to the Jungle, I'm talking about. Is referred to as the third major installment of Jumanji, which I didn't know, and I haven't seen Zathura, and I haven't seen the 90s Jumanji, which I will go back and see at some point. But anyway, this kind of stands on its own. I don't think you need to know anything about that other stuff at all. In fact, I don't know anything about it, but it works quite well. One of the things I really liked about this is. I think it's, the universe it sets up is very coherent and works in its own internal logic really well. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I pretty much agree. You're saying it like pretty much as it is.
Yeah. And I really, obviously, whoever wrote it knows video games, right? Because they got some of the major.
There's a lot of little references like Choose Your Fighter.
Yeah,
right at the beginning.
Certain moves, right? Certain moves and things like that. So I mean, the main stars were The Rock. I was going to say Amy Pond, Karen Gillan, Jack Black, and Kevin Hart. Quite a good cast, I'd say. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the standout really was Jack Black. I gotta say,
as a teenage girl, he's hilarious. That was really funny. And I think quite a lot of teenage girls thought it was funny too, because like if you went to the cinema and saw it, they were laughing their heads off whenever he was talking. And the whole premise of people having lives and having to work out riddles, that's very, very early gamer sort of focus, isn't it? In many ways, it shares some of the similar space to something like Ready Player One, in referencing gamer culture. But I think this does it in a much more mainstream way and you don't actually get put off by any of the stuff. They explain it as they go, much like a game does, and things like NPCs and, lives on tattoos on them and being able to see their strengths and weaknesses. And there are some comedy strengths and weaknesses. And little things like The Rock smouldering made me laugh quite a lot. And Karen Gillan's, dance fighting, stuff like that. But it was priceless to see Jack Black teaching Karen Gillan how to flirt. That did make me laugh. Both of them played that really well. And I think the characters, it was written well enough that before we even get to these four ones in the game, we spend a little bit of time with the the real characters who become these avatars. Enough so that we can see their character coming through when it transfers to, The Rock and so on. Worked for me quite well. How about you?
Yeah, that was really funny. How you'd see like this dorky teenage girl who flat out is insulting her PE teacher, calling it like basically like a lower profession.
Oh yeah,
and then she's suddenly Karen Gillan. So
yeah, it just works. It just works. Yeah, I mean, was there any weak points to the film? Do you think?
Probably the the villain, kind of, because you don't really need a villain, like a hard villain with Jumanji, because Jumanji itself is doing most of the like messing with
damage. Yeah. I mean, know, the killer hippos and the running rhinos.
And Van Pelt was in the original, but he was a different, like, sort of character.
Yeah.
He was like a sort of like pith helmet wearing sort of like hunter in the deepest Africa sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he was hunting, he was basically doing a most dangerous game. But in this, he's more like but in this, he was more like a, kind of just a really generic early video game baddie, which was probably intentional.
Yeah, I feel that I would agree. The main weakness of the film was the bad guy isn't really got any kind of personality, or he's not someone you can sort of really get to grips with because he's shallow. But like you say, that's like the nature of a video game, right? But this guy was kind of obsessed with this power and just staring into things. It reminded me a bit of the old Lord of the Rings. If they looked into the those crystal ball things, they kind of got mesmerized. It kind of felt like that a bit. I think the CG, while it wasn't perfect, was pretty decent and mostly stands up still of the animals. But I just, the whole rock stuff and them using each of their powers was quite well developed too. And the whole Kevin Hart, the guy he was, Fridge, being sort of disgusted, he's like a little serving sidekick when he should be at the Rock, right? That was a touch of that. That kind of made me laugh too. So enjoyable film all round. I haven't really got much else to say about it. The music was pretty solid. I think it's a cracking 2 hours. It moves. It didn't feel baggy or anything like that, and very enjoyable.
Yeah.
So it was, and it's kind of funny that they smashed the game up at the end, don't they?
They just drop. I find it funny that the Fridge drops a bowling ball on it, and in the next game, Fridge is kind of gets screwed over again for characters.
Yeah. So. We'll get to that in a bit. I can see one of these coming out every few years. I think there's more sort of sugar in this chewing gum. To be chewed out, personally.
They definitely slowly roll in other characters in the game, because at the moment we got Bravestone, Ruby Roundhouse, Mouse Finbar, Shelley Oberon. We get 2 more in the next one. Well, there's another one, Seaplane McDonough.
The sea pilot guy, yes, who was the guy that's been stuck in it. Who they help bring back, right?
There's a brief interlude at the start where you see Jumanji gets picked up and given to this kid.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the first film, it washes up on a beach and the drums start playing again.
Okay.
And at the beginning of this film, it's on a beach and kids are just ignoring it. But when it does get picked up and given to another kid, he just sort of hands it off and carries on playing his video game. That's when it changes.
Yes, it does. When it realises it needs to do something else. I didn't realise this, but apparently Jumanji, the original Jumanji, was based on a children's book, which is interesting. I didn't know that. It cracks along. Everyone, it's well written. It's entertaining. It's exciting. It's fun. There's a sense of, there is a sense of peril, definitely, that they may not get back. It kind of works. I think the entire, it's just really well cast. I agree with you, Jack Black's the outstanding one, but you know what? The other 3 are pretty close behind him. I think they all kind of work quite well.
Yeah. I think in the next one, they kind of become more equal, because they do kind of show off their ability to act a lot more. Yeah. Because they have to be different people in their bodies.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, let's move on to the next one, because there's some stuff to it. Now, we're going to try and avoid spoilers as best we can, but, we're going to have to talk about some specific details to sort of say why we liked it. So it's gonna be a bit spoilery, I'd say. If you haven't seen it and you don't want it, if you want to go in completely new, don't listen on. I think it's one of those films you can't get. You can't spoil it. It doesn't. Even if someone told you the ending, you still enjoy it just as much. It's one of those, really. Yeah. So we find that the head nerdy character has kind of gone to New York to study, and it's not really working out for him. His own visiting. His grandpa happens to be Danny DeVito.
That was pretty funny.
Great. And also, we find out he's got a long-standing feud with an ex-partner who he used to run like a diner with, who's played by Danny Glover. It's great to see Danny Glover in something. He's looking pretty good for his age. But he comes off, he's a more ponderous, slow-talking guy that just wants to explain everything. I almost felt like they based it on, the parodies you see of what's his name, Morgan
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. I felt that he was kind of a bit based on that, because he was slow talking, explaining things. And he took forever to explain anything. And I like the whole premise, and I think this is in the trailer, so I don't think I'm spoiling it too much. It's not necessarily original people but back in Jumanji, but Danny DeVito's in there and as The Rock. And
Danny Glover's in it as Kevin Hart's character.
Who's like this biologist, and they need this information off of him to solve the game, but it takes so long to explain anything, people keep dying. And it's kind of becomes a running joke, doesn't it, in the thing? And everyone's getting annoyed. And they realise one of them's not there, and, basically more people turn up. But also, this is the next level of the game. This isn't the first game. It is, the name's appropriate. They've got a completely different challenge involving an evil warlord.
Yeah, Jurgen the Brutal,
who's
played by Rory McCann.
He's trying to take all the.
He's stolen a stone. He's kind of doing an Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. He's stolen like a stone from the local people, and he's going to use it to barter with another warlord.
Yes,
and they've got to get it back because that stone keeps the land alive.
That's right. Yeah. So he's a big evil guy with lots of evil minions. So it's again very video game. And they've got to go on a mission. But not only that is in the previous one we haven't really talked about the weaknesses, but there's some goofy like strengths and weaknesses. Like one of them's Kevin Hart's character's got a weakness is cake. For example. Anyway, this moves on, and we find they've got new strengths and new weaknesses, as you would kind of get with a video game progression. And they tie in quite well in the story. So again, a really nice touch for video gamers watching this kind of film.
And they've especially added some really dumb powers, like Ruby Roundhouse gets nunchucks.
That's right. Venom. A weakness is venom, isn't it? And stuff like that.
Yeah, her weakness was already venom, but like The Rock's character gets the weakness switchblade, and everyone's kind of like, yeah, you would have a weakness to being stabbed. But then later on you get there, and it turns out there's a guy called Switchblade in the game.
Yeah, and Danny DeVito's loving it. But there should be stressed one of the elements they've added to this story is about like old age and friendship, right? So Danny DeVito's just had a hip operation, so he's not very mobile. But suddenly he's like The Rock and doing all sorts, and he feels great about it. And he meets this beautiful woman who's like all over him, and he's kind of gobsmacked, isn't it? Yeah. It's like, oh, I like it here. So there's a bit of that. That's kind of fun. And there's some character swap around. And there's also a dynamic in the film where they figure out how to swap each other's characters, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's certain special water. If you both go in it, you change characters. So they decide to reconfigure who's in what body.
That was pretty fun.
It's fun when the fridge the fridge finally gets into a body where he's a badass and he's super happy, then he instantly gets swapped back again and he's like that's kind of fun. So I think this did well. The plot's a little more convoluted, but not much than the first one. And
so far, it's doing well. It's on a budget of. Wikipedia has it between 125 and 132 million. It's made 671 million so far.
Oh, it's well made its money back and a bit more. There's a very, very exciting sequence involving mandrills, a bit like baboons, but big and massive and vicious. They're tracing across these hanging bridges. It's really cool. I really like that bit. And it felt video game.
Yeah.
Have they actually made a video game of Jumanji, Matt?
Yes, they did.
It seems appropriate.
Yeah.
And then a few more of the characters come back. The guy they saved's got kind of his. Again, I should have mentioned that. Anyway, never mind. Done it now. And some of the people that come into the game are not necessarily what you think they would be. So there's some interesting stuff going on there. And again, when you play video games, you sometimes take on weird characters, right? So it kind of makes sense. I like the fact that one of them, they end up in a desert. One of them's weakness is like, what is it?
It's the sun, heat, and exhaustion.
And they're in the desert with no water. So that kind of makes me laugh. We see a bit more.
I did quite enjoy the power-ups that The Rock got. Because before he was strong, but he was kind of human. Now he's like launching guys miles with a punch.
Yeah. He's powered right up. So that's kind of fun. Was it Smolder? His name is Smolder.
Smolder.
And I did like the sort of fact that they changed the character. It was Danny DeVito was like an old guy who's got old guy issues. And his friend is like an old guy who talks really slow and like it kind of wrecks their progress through the game somewhat. Because he just won't get to the point. That did make me laugh. The Warlord's kind of... Was it Jurgen the Brutal or something like that?
Yeah.
Which made me think of the guy in Ghostbusters 2. What's his name? Vigo the Carpathian.
Vigo the Carpathian.
Yeah, it made me laugh. So there was a lot going on. And I mean, the plot outside of the Jumanji, the little bits we get, the tail end stuff works really well too. So it's very well written. Any downside on this one? Any issues?
Again, the villain was arguably even more flat in this one.
It was very flat.
Because at least in the old one, he was able to threaten them throughout most of the film. Like, even if he didn't do anything, he was still a presence. Like, there'd be bikers coming after them. In this, he shows up in a bar, and then he doesn't really show up until the very end, where he just gets beaten.
Yeah, I agree with that. One thing I did like was the fact he had lots of minions, which works for video games. So these, like,
Yeah. I did quite enjoy the minion variety. Like, whoever was hiring for the minions, they got, like, they got men, women, they got like big, small, everything.
Yeah, I noticed that they had the guy that plays Kripke in Big Bang Theory in there as like a...
Yeah, it's like a sort of sage character.
Yeah, like a clerk for the Warlord. Yeah. I enjoyed this one too. Which film did you like better?
Arguably the first one, but the second one had some stuff I really enjoyed. Yeah, Aquafina as what was her name? Ming Fleetfoot was really funny.
Oh yeah, she was so good.
Character.
Doing a version of Danny DeVito is very funny. She's like a thief character.
It's amazing how both her and The Rock can just like pull off a great Danny DeVito impression.
Yeah, it was good. I mean,
Kevin Hart's also really good as Danny Glover. So
yeah, I could definitely see as we go through this, something like the next version will be like a Dungeons and Dragons or something. Do you know what I mean? Or it might stay with much more with the jungle, but they might pull in some characters you often see in Dungeons, like a really stupid tank-like character. Who's massive, or a sort of ranger kind of character who's good at tracking and stuff like that. It's just there's a lot of possibilities here. It could make a good TV show, even it'd be quite good in that format too. Though I think it does work quite well in movie format. It needs the budget really. I think, to really pull this stuff off. So yes, I really quite enjoyed this, and it's interesting they could even bring in other actors, like they did with DeVito and Glover, a different, somehow related in there, and sort of have that interaction too. So very solid.
I like that if we're going by what the end of the film presented, Jumanji's kind of starting to spill out again.
Yes,
because that's what happened to the first one, and now there's ostriches. The film ends with ostriches running around in the real world.
There is a bit
in I think it's supposed to be in upstate New York or somewhere.
Yeah, which feels like a nod back to the first film, right? A big nod back to the first film. Yeah,
yeah, and also Danny DeVito's got Bravestone's Smolder.
Yeah,
which now has a musical cue.
Nice. I think I also prefer the first film a little to the second, but they're very close, I bought the first film and I will buy the second one when it comes out on Blu-ray. I'm happily watch them back to back, as a pair. They continue to work the whole thing works very well in the second one. Like I say, there's all these little extras that are informed by video game lore that, again, feel perfectly organic for a mainstream audience. I don't think you need to know anything about video games to kind of appreciate and feel that, oh yeah, I see, yeah, I understand what's going on, and it's kind of fun, right? And I just like the little additions they put in, and bits of it did feel very Indiana Jones too, the bit with the mandrills, there's a bit with an airship, and stuff like that. So yeah, a lot of fun. What would you give both films out of 10?
I'd give the first film a 9, and the second film, I'd also give it a 9, but the first film is like a little bit higher. It's not quite a 9.5.
Yeah, I think that's a fair score. I think on Letterboxd I rated both of these 8, but it was a hard 8. It was like a high 8. It was closer to 9 and 7 for sure. So I wouldn't argue at all with 9s for this. I think it's top tier films. Yeah, they're top tier entertainment. They are proper popcorn bubblegum films without being dumb and annoying. They're clever and they're inventive, but they're to just enjoy, right? And they work quite well for that. So yeah, good pair of films. This I'd recommend them. Okay, let's wind up there. Okay, so bye from me.
Bye.